Hi ladies, it's Monique with Boundaries for Women, and I had a request to do a video on boundaries with close family members, and I don't know for sure if the request was living with those people, that person, or close meaning close in heart. Either way, one of the things that I wanted to talk about in terms of dealing with any kind of family situation, because with family there's this um, aspect of it where we feel like, well, we're supposed to love our family, we're supposed to feel certain ways about them, we're supposed to. And sometimes those feelings of what we're supposed to feel can make it challenging to be honest about how we actually feel about a situation. So, the first thing I just want to encourage is to really get in touch with how are you feeling at that moment. If something comes up, let's say something's happened that triggers something because there's been some kind of a pattern developed with interaction with a certain person. Um, Ask yourself in that moment, what are you feeling? Because when we're feeling a lot of intense emotions, sometimes it's hard to just kind of get into a place of stillness to even identify how we're feeling. And especially if there's some kind of a conversation that's been opened up, or you've maybe been baited into something, or you just have had trouble detaching from a certain person's behaviors or their life or the things they do and the things they say. Um, Detachment has so many levels. So, one of the ways of detaching is first to just get clear on what you're feeling and what you need. Knowing what you need is so core to so much of what boundaries is about, because if we have trouble with boundaries, and we've had trouble either setting boundaries or knowing other people's boundaries, that kind of thing, it's often because we never really were taught to examine what we need for us emotionally. So getting to that place of even asking oneself, what do I need, is can be it can be a long process to even get there. But that's actually, to me, as far as coaching women in dealing with any kind of toxic or unhealthy relationship dynamic, is first to find out, what do you need. And I have to tell you honestly, this is the question for me that when I was really started my healing journey with all of this years ago, this is the question that changed everything for me, because I had a counselor who asked me that question. And I remember, because it was literally the first time in my life that anyone had ever asked me that question. So I was like, what do I need? Wow. I've never had to think about that, because I wasn't really taught that my needs are that important in terms of emotionally. And so, well, I know a lot of you probably can relate to this. So, because when you're in some kind of an environment where it's always somehow about making sure everybody else is okay. Oh, I want to make sure everybody else is okay. Getting to a point of knowing what you need is a process. But ultimately, that's the question. What do you need? And when that question comes up, if that's the first time anyone's ever said that to you, when that question comes up, what will often accompany that word is a feeling of, like, almost like you're being selfish for even asking that question. And that thing about supposed to feel selfish, is that's been somehow programmed into the brain. But I just want to encourage you, it can be programmed out. And that's the beauty of our brains, and the way God made our brains, and the way we are made, is that our brains don't have to stay going in that direction all the time. And we can actually start to shift our brain to start asking that question a lot. So much so that you start to think, gee, maybe I'm being selfish now. Really, am I? But to just start with, what do you need? And the thing is, it's very unlikely someone else is going to ask you that in a in any kind of unhealthy interaction. So we have to be able to ask it for ourselves. So asking that question, will then lead to possibly the next question I'm going to suggest, which is, whatever this situation is, whatever this is that's trying to lure you in, bait you, manipulate you, trigger you, whatever thing it's bringing up, ask yourself, is this worth giving up my peace for? Because, sometimes you can be going through your day feeling great, and then one little interaction can cause all this junk to come up that is like really unpleasant. And so, to get to that point of asking yourself, is this worth losing my peace for or over? And it's probably not. Not to say that there aren't situations, and there are, and I can make another video on difficult conversations, but not to say there aren't times where a difficult conversation has to happen in order for you to stay in peace. But those kind of conversations generally come from you being in a place where you're centered and you're grounded and you're able to approach that conversation yourself, rather than it comes, flying up in a moment of, frustration or anger or just emotional upset. So those two questions are the two questions I just want to put out there. The next time something comes up for you, try asking the first one, what do I need right now? And the second one, is this worth losing my peace over? And those two questions will help start to direct you in that situation, to just come back to yourself, to come back to yourself. Because when we feel intense emotions, we start to feel like our emotions are so much connected to what someone else is doing. And but we can come back to ourselves and get back to that place of asking those questions. So please try that if you want, see if that helps you. And I would love to hear any other thoughts on it, things that you do, things that you found helpful that might help other women. And yeah, I just want to encourage you always that you are worth the effort for whatever it takes to have peace, and you're worthy of love and respect. So hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.